here is Timmy, and today it's the second part of our series, and that is about visionary fiction. Yeah, one of my favorites, so let's start. Visionary fiction is a fiction genre with new age or mind, body, spirit themes and perspectives, including consciousness expansion, spirituality, mysticism and parapsychology, a subtype of speculative fiction. And examples of novels are The Celestine Prophecy, The Alchemist, and Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. Yeah, and what can I say? The Celestine Prophecy and The Alchemist are two of my fave novels, so yeah. And let's see a few definitions of this genre. Illustrates and demonstrates the process of growth in human consciousness. Visionary writing has the qualities of prophecy. Perhaps it is apocalyptic in imagery, or it may be predictive in insights, or it may contain a core of moral truth. Many of the Romantic poets, especially Blake, have been labeled visionary. Note that in its literary sense, visionary writing need not to be religious in nature, though it frequently is. Yeah, and it is mentioned Carl Jung. Carl Jung, it is one of my favorite psychologists, so yeah. The experience that furnishes the material for artistic expression is no longer familiar. It is a strange something that derives its existence from the hinterlands of man's mind, that suggests the abyss of time separating us from pre-human ages, or evokes a superhuman world of contrasting light and darkness. Yeah. And in this case, it may be considered Homer, Virgil and Beowulf as visionary fiction. Yeah. Michael Gurian says that expansion of the human mind drives the plot. Where science fiction is characterized by storytelling based in expanded use of science to drive narrative, visionary fiction is characterized by storytelling based in expanded use of mental ability to drive narrative. Yeah. Visionary fiction embraces spiritual and esoteric wisdom. These gems of wisdom are brought forth in story form. Readers can experience the wisdom from within themselves. It emphasizes and envisions humanity's transition into evolved consciousness. It is no way in no way proselytizes or preaches. Yes, and these sentences are the base core of my books, so that is why I consider that in a way they are visionary fiction. The visionary element can technically be present in any genre and set in any time. Often deals with the stuff that happens at the edge between inner and outer. Stories written in this genre draw our attention to how our visions inform us and impact our lives. Yes, and the characteristics of this genre are growth in consciousness, shifts in awareness. The plot of the novel is generally more concerned with internal experiences than with external. Yes. This change is from the Inside Out. And in visionary fiction, death tends to rebirth at a higher level, so that it is not considered negative in visionary fiction. Yes. The next characteristic is reader experience. The other layer, deeper and more archetypal, is the mystical inner journey of spiritual awakening. Esoteric wisdom is embedded in story. Reader can actually experience it instead of merely learning about it. What separates visionary fiction from other speculative fiction is intention. Visionary fiction enlightens and encourages readers to expand their awareness of greater possibilities. Reading experience interactive. Gives them to bare essentials and invites them to try it. The best visionary is multi-layered to suit readers at different awareness levels. Yeah, I love visionary fiction so much. The next characteristic is spiritual component. Embraces spiritual and esoteric wisdom, often from ancient sources, and makes it relevant for our modern life. Is universal in its worldview and scope. Visionary fiction spiritual focus do not require to have a feel-good flavor. It serves to remind that the spiritual conflicts addressed in visionary fiction are serious, existential, and often life-threatening in the process of becoming life-changing. The next is paranormal perceptions, ability to perceive beyond the normal purview, transcending the five senses. Employ non-rational means such as dreams or extrasensory perceptions to develop the content of the book. Such extraordinary phenomena not only happen but drive the plot and its characters. Oftentimes uses reincarnation, dreams, visions, paranormal, psychic abilities, and other metaphysical plot devices. Does it sound this familiar? Does it? If you have watched my previous videos, it should. You know, roleplay, my novel. Does it include this stuff? Like reincarnation? Have I spoken before about reincarnation in my other videos? I think I have. Have I not? Of course I did. Like shaman stories of the spirit world, where the spirits of animals, trees, sky, or the stars teach us how to live, visionary fiction introduces us to reality beyond physical reality. Seers, visionaries, oracles, and physics. The magic of this genre is the magic of human consciousness itself, our ability to see beneath the surface and create new visions of what our lives can be. Yeah. And these are the characteristics, and I love them. I love visionary fiction so much. And in my opinion, I am writing in this genre, as far as I can guess, because there are a little bit of confusions in my head. But let's see a few resemblance, similarities and differences with other genres, like mainstream fiction, all of which concentrate on revealing our psychological motivations and responses to us rather than letting us discover them for ourselves in our reaction to what we have read. So here, in visionary fiction, you don't get concrete stuff, but you get information that touches you, and you will have to figure it out how and what does teach you. Science fiction and fantasy. What separates visionary fiction from other speculative fiction is intention. Visionary enlightens and encourages readers to expand their awareness of greater possibilities. The new sciences have shown us over the last 3 decades how vast and limitless is the increasing power of the human mind. Yes. And other genres, religious, spiritual, new age fiction. It should not be equated with religious fiction. Visionary fiction does not have to be religious. I mean, it can be any type that makes you want to be more aware of yourself, of your surroundings, of your inner world. So it doesn't have to be, okay, mine is a little bit, but not religious, but more spiritual, because yeah, I use the word God, but I don't use it as in a religious way. I use it as a universal way, because okay, I was raised with this name God, but I use God as a name for everything. I mean, the universe, the love, the energy within, or call it whatever you want it. So the name is not as important as the role of that. Yes, religious fiction generally means Christian fiction, where religious literature is best structured by religion. The topography of structure of the narrative is not very important in New Age literature. The teaching is more important. I make a distinction between spiritual fiction and visionary fiction that others may find to be too fine. In spiritual fiction, as in New Age literature, spirituality rather than mental ability drives the plot. So this is what a little bit confuses me, but it is a fine difference. So yeah, I don't know. I will have to ask my beta readers when I will have beta readers that what do they consider that my plot is driven, because I cannot figure it out. Is it driven by mental ability or is it driven by spirituality? Both. They are both as important in my opinion. So yeah, that is why I consider my books New Age visionary fiction. Yeah, so they are New Age and visionary at the same time. Given its spiritual component, visionary fiction works are often found in some combination with spiritual and New Age fiction, just as mine. In the publishing market, visionary fiction, spiritual fiction, New Age fiction, and even New Age non-fiction all blur together for marketing purposes, which in my opinion, especially the non-fiction, a fiction novel, it is not a non-fiction book, so why are they blurred together? I cannot understand. Yes. Metaphysical fiction, in which a significant proportion of the work is devoted to a discussion of the sort of questions normally addressed in discursive philosophy. Yes. Metaphysical fiction encompasses topics like energy healing, past lives, intuition, events or experiences that we may be able to subjectively experience or sense but cannot objectively measure or explain. Yeah, these are in my story too, so again, the active versus passive focus rule above can be used to differentiate. Whereas in visionary fiction you are active in the reading, while in others you are more passive, a learning role. So this was my video about visionary fiction. I hope that you learned from this too, and we will meet again in the last part, in which I will be talking about New Age, and if I could figure out which genre is mine. But yeah, I have quite a little bit of guess. So may all of you have a visionary day and a blessed one. Bye.